Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Matt, and I work as technical director at Xceed. And today we're going to cover all that we've been working on this summer at Xceed. I kind of want to split it in two different packages. The first thing we're going to talk about is our WPF controls, and then we're going to talk about our non-visual controls, which is our .NET libraries. The first thing to mention before we start jumping into what we've been doing at Xceed, I think it's interesting to look at what's been going on with Microsoft lately. They have a lot of exciting new technologies that I want to talk about real quick. The first obvious product or framework I want to talk about is .NET 7. This is going to be a big change for Microsoft. They're going to have a 3-day conference in November to discuss all the new features and functionalities. The good news is that at Xceed, we're already making sure that our products will work just fine in that environment, and we're looking to see if there's anything in there that we can leverage for our products and for our users. So if you plan on moving to .NET 7 in the future, not to worry, Xceed will be supporting this framework just fine. There's also two different texts that are worth mentioning. The first one would be Blazor. All of our non-visual products will work in any kind of .NET environment, and I think it's important to mention that. For Blazor, for example, I made this little sample that uses Xceed Words for .NET in a Blazor environment. So basically, you could have a website that asks for any information, and you can send it to a Words document just fine using our control. So in this case, I created a small profile sheet that you can fill out with information, and when you press on Save Changes, you get this documents that gets to be downloaded on your system, and voila, you're going to have it in your Words document. There you go, that beautiful picture. All right, so that is one thing that I want our users to consider, like zip for .NET, SFTP for .NET, Words, workbooks will work just fine in a web environment as well, using Blazor or even ASP.NET if you're using older technologies. Another thing I want to mention, speaking of new technologies, is that Xceed is currently investigating MAUI. So as of today, it's still in preview. The technology is still in preview, but it looks very promising, and we're really excited to explore this technology and see, are we going to build a toolkit for that technology? So we're investigating all the possibilities there. Nothing has been decided yet, but if it's something you'd like to see and you want to talk about, please feel free to drop us a line at Xceed, either at support@xceed.com or matt@xceed.com, and we can enable a conversation about these topics. Now, let's talk about what's been going on at Xceed more specifically. At Xceed, it's been very interesting for our WPF controls because of the release of Windows 11 and many new UI paradigms that we're trying to follow. The first thing we wanted to make sure is that we have a theme that will work just fine in a Windows 11 scenario. So, as you can see behind me, I have this new theme called Fluent Design that is pretty much built to fit properly in a Windows 11 environment. It follows the guidelines of WinUI 3, and we try to be as close to it as possible. So if you deploy an application on Windows 11, you can use this theme and it's going to fit in just nicely. Speaking of which, our toolkit will also have this theme available. So all of your Xceed controls that uses WPF will work just fine in a Windows 11 environment. For us, it's important to keep the product fresh and ready to use in any new version of Windows or UI style available. And that's why we created this. So that's it for our visual controls in terms of WPF and what's coming. Of course, there's going to be a ton of bug fixes, enhancement, and little features added here and there that you'll be able to see in my article, a summer update on our website. So if we move on and start talking about our non-visual control at Xceed, there's quite a bit that we've been working on. Xceed Zip for .NET, for example, has received bug fixes and enhancements. We even have a sample now that showcases how you can use zip files using a multi-threading environment, which should get some decent performance upgrade there. Also, Xceed Words for .NET received a lot of attention. It is a product that our users have been using quite a bit lately. And one feature that you guys want us to improve all the time is our PDF conversion. So we've spent a lot of time on adding functionalities and making sure that the PDF creation is as flexible as possible. Another product that got a huge feature list and updates is Xceed Workbooks for .NET. Obviously, being a new product at Xceed, we were thriving to push it to maturity as fast as possible. And I'm pretty satisfied with all the features we have right now. So once again, if you look at my article, you're going to see all the details offered there. Finally, because I want to keep this video short as possible, Xceed FTP for .NET received also a considerable upgrade, which is adding the support for TLS 1.3. TLS 1.3 is an algorithm that we wanted to support for a while. However, we weren't exactly sure if it's effort that we want to put in, because Microsoft was going to add this support in .NET directly. However, based on what we've seen, their implementation is not complete. It's not as easy to use, and it won't work across all platforms. Xceed FTP for .NET will support 1.3, TLS 1.3 that will work across all platforms in .NET. Either it's a Linux, or Mac environment, it should work just fine. So as I mentioned, there's a lot more to talk about that you'll find in my article. If you need to have a discussion with me about upcoming features, or you'd like to have early access, as usual, please send me an email at matt@xceed.com. I'll do my best to get back to you and hopefully be able to provide what you need. So that's about it for me today. As I mentioned, there's a lot that's going to be released this fall, a lot of new functionalities as well. So I'll catch you guys up in a couple of months on about all that's been happening at Xceed then. So thank you very much for joining me today, and have a nice day.